US President-elect Donald Trump has made it clear who's calling the shots when it comes to the incoming administration. The billionaire Elon Musk has fast become Mr. Trump's right-hand man after last month's election win. The X and Tesla boss has been tasked with heading a department to cut government waste, but Mr. Musk has drawn criticism after he used his social media site urging Republicans to kill off a spending bill in Congress. Opponents have accused him of being Donald Trump's puppet master, something the president-elect rejects.
No, he's not going to be president, that I can tell you. And I'm safe. You know why? He can't be. He wasn't born in this country. But the fake news knows that. No, he's a great guy, and we want to have him.
Donald Trump has also selected the producer of the reality TV show The Apprentice to be his administration's special envoy to the United Kingdom. The president-elect says Mr. Burnett would work to enhance diplomatic relations. It continues a trend of Mr. Trump choosing billionaires, media personalities and loyalists to key roles. Well, let's get more on this now with Jared Mondschein from the US Studies Centre. Jared, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
For context, could you talk us through what we saw over the weekend? The US government was facing a shutdown. We saw Elon Musk tweeting about it, calling for Republicans to kill the bill, and then it did.
That's right. So similar to back in 2016, after Donald Trump won the election in November 2016, and then he won it again in November 2024, he did not really comment all that much about budget negotiations that were ongoing. He basically let the prior Congress, which was basically a lame duck Congress, deal with that. But then, as you mentioned, Elon Musk last week basically made a huge fuss out of the budget for next year and the congressional continuing resolution that was being negotiated. Donald Trump was very hands-off about it until Elon Musk flagged it. Now, as the head of this new entity, the Department of Government Accountability or efficiency, I should say, I think it made sense for Elon Musk to flag this. But at the same time, as soon as Elon Musk did this, then that meant that Donald Trump also had to comment on this. Now, what's really interesting to note here is that from my perspective, I don't know anyone in the Republican Party right now or in the conservative movement right now who has the same level of organic support that Donald Trump has. If you look at sort of approval ratings and who can actually turn out major crowds and has an online, like a fervid online fan base, I think Elon Musk is the one other person besides Donald Trump who has that right now. With that said, but as Donald Trump highlighted, he cannot, Elon Musk cannot be president because he wasn't born in the U.S. So I think there is an issue here where there probably will be tension, maybe possibly increasing tension between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. But at the end of the day, Elon Musk will never be the U.S. president.
Do you think, though, that this is a sign of how influential Elon Musk will be when he is more formally a part of the president's administration? He's been accused, as we heard of, by some of being Mr. Trump's puppet master. Do you think that what we saw over the weekend is a sign of things to come?
I don't know if he's a puppet master, but he's definitely one who knows how to get a lot of attention as the owner of X, formerly Twitter, as the world's richest man. You can't ignore Elon Musk. And so that's why many DC insiders are basically expecting there to be some sort of divorce between these two, because many are saying, you know, DC is only big enough for one of them. And so I think it's all but inevitable that there's going to be tension between them. With that said, as we saw in the first Trump administration, the Democrats are acutely aware of Donald Trump not liking being perceived as being weaker or being controlled by someone else. So when former senior advisor to the president, Steve Bannon, was made the cover of Time magazine and basically seen as this sort of shadow president, he was not too long thereafter fired by Donald Trump. And so I think basically the Democrats are trying to sow discord between Elon Musk and Donald Trump.
Donald Trump has made another controversial appointment in Mark Burnett as special envoy to the UK. What do we know about him?
He is a famous producer, and as you said before, he is someone who has been in the limelight for some time. There was some rumors that Burnett possibly had recordings of Donald Trump making disparaging remarks from his time in the reality TV world. It's not clear if that's true or not. But at the end of the day, I think Burnett has been nothing but supportive of Donald Trump, has really not come out and denounced him as some other media folks did, especially during Trump's first term in office. And so I think that ultimately what we're seeing is, as you said, someone who has been supportive of Donald Trump staying in his orbit and therefore being rewarded for it with a high-profile ambassadorship.
This continues this trend that we've been talking about of Mr. Trump sort of choosing billionaires and media personalities to be a part of his team. How do you think that is going to play out come Inauguration Day and this administration getting underway?
Yeah, I think we're likely going to see more of this. Donald Trump is not someone who really has changed all that dramatically from his first term of office. He still really cares about sort of the people who already have a media presence. He cares about people who look the parts. He talks about wanting people from central casting. You know, he wants his generals to look like generals. And so I think the fact that he has once again gone back to similar sorts of approaches or tactics to how he wants to staff his administration should not be all that surprising. The only difference this time is that Congress is different than it was when he first took office in 2017. He has slimmer margins in the House of Representatives. He has similar margins to what he had in the Senate, but on the whole, he has far more support in the Republican Party than he did in 2017. There's a lot of debate about whether he was a sort of outsider and sort of an aberration. But, you know, now basically he is arguing that Joe Biden was the aberration and Donald Trump is the future of sort of the Republican Party and American political discourse.
Just finally, Jared, Donald Trump has also been posting online about the Panama Canal. He's calling fees a rip-off and threatening to attempt to take back control of what he called a national asset to the United States. What's the fallout been there? And again, this is, you know, the future US president using his social media platforms to essentially carry out international diplomacy.
Yeah, I mean, this is, again, what we saw in his first term. He is going to make threats, some tangible, some more imaginative on his social media profiles. But ultimately, what he's tapping into is actually a long running debate in the U.S. that began some time ago. And it was actually a major presidential debate within the Republican and Democratic parties back in the 70s. The U.S. actually ceded control of the Panama Canal to the nation of Panama, and Gerald Ford, the then president, was supportive of it, and Ronald Reagan, who ran against Gerald Ford in the Republican primaries, was actually fervently against it. And then Jimmy Carter was also against it while he was running, but then once he took office in 1976, he actually signed the treaty the following year. And he supported, it basically allowed for this to occur, which basically ended up happening in 1999 when full ownership of the Panama Canal was given to the nation of Panama. Now, I should note that Donald Trump criticized other administrations for not doing something about this, but he was actually a prior administration himself. And Ronald Reagan, who ran against giving Panama the Panama Canal, actually also ended up not sort of revoking that treaty that the U.S. signed with Panama in 1977. So it's one thing to run on this, it's one thing to say it out of office, but there seems to be a bit of a difference once these individuals take office.